Hello, and welcome to our channel. I'm Kay Wilson, regulated Canadian immigration consultant and founder of Northern Connections Canada Immigration. So today I'm going to talk to you about 5 permanent residence options for international students in Canada. When I work with international students who come to Canada to study, I always try to find out what their end goal is. And if that goal is to get PR, you always want to ensure that you have a clear path on how this study pathway can get you there, right? Because it is a big investment, it's a big commitment, and you do want to make sure that you get it right. This starts with looking at the program options that are there or will be available for you following the completion of your studies. And then you can use that to plan your pathway. Sometimes it's not always going to be crystal clear at the start, but you do want to have a plan nonetheless. So let's get into the different options. So the first one that we're going to look at is Express Entry. You do want to ensure that you have an Express Entry profile. So Express Entry is Canada's flagship immigration application system, and it manages applications for 3 programs primarily. So that's the Federal Skilled Worker Program, the Federal Skilled Trades Program, and the Canadian Experience Class. So as a student, you can have an Express Entry profile, and you can have this done while you're studying, prior to studying, or you can wait until after studying to create your profile. It will all depend, honestly, on your personal situation and you meeting the eligibility requirements of the programs in that particular system. Of course, I mentioned the 3 programs, and there are points. It's a points-based system, so there are points that you can earn for completing your studies in Canada. And that's one of the main pull factors for studying, really. It's the additional points that you can get from having a Canadian completed education, as well as the access to some of these other programs that we'll be discussing today. With Canadian studies, you can earn 15 points for completing Canadian education of 1 or 2 years, and this is post-secondary studies. As well, there are 30 points available for a program that is 3 years or longer, or a master's program. As you plan your pathway, you do want to ensure that your Canadian work experience or any job that you will be looking to get post-studies is in a tier 0 to 3 occupation, right? So that's the NOC code for the position. If your work experience falls in a tier 4 or 5, for example, then it won't be eligible for Express Entry. So just bear that in mind. And you can also, use this to guide your job search as a student while you're studying. But it does help if you can build those relationships with employers while you're studying, so that at the end of completing your program, you do have options, you do have some network that you can pull on for securing job offers. Do also remember that Express Entry now has additional types of draws, such as category-based draws, that will provide more options for some candidates. Especially if your score is on the lower end of the spectrum, these could definitely benefit you if you have work experience in some of these specific occupations that are a part of the category-based draws. The second pathway I want to mention for international students is the provincial nominee programs. Every province in Canada has a provincial nominee program. With the PNP programs, they have different streams that are tailored to different applicants. So these can include skilled workers, low-skilled workers, in-demand occupations, and there's also a stream for those who are currently working in the particular province, among others. So most of these PNPs will have international student streams as well, or they may call it an international graduate stream. But of course, with different criteria that each applicant will have to meet based on the provincial requirements. Some of these PNPs will require job offer in the province and working in the province for a particular period of time. So typically you can find most of these programs will ask for at least 6 months to a year of work experience in a particular province. So you do want to become familiar with the programs that are available in the province that you're in, and how you can use this to your benefit is keep up to date with any changes to the potential program, because they can change the program requirements at different time, or the eligibility requirements, right, at different times. So you do want to keep abreast of those and know what's available in the province that you're in so that you can plan your pathway. Because if there's nothing that's currently available in your particular province, then it means that you should be planning maybe to move at the end of your studies depending on the situation. Some provinces also have express entry aligned programs where if you have an express entry profile and receive a nomination through their express entry PNP stream, you can earn an additional 600 points, right? So that is pretty significant for express entry, as you know. Some of these provinces that will have an express entry aligned stream includes, we have Newfoundland and Labrador, Saskatchewan, Alberta, Ontario, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. So depending on the province, a direct application to the PNP stream may be required, or just having a presence in the express entry pool will allow you to be considered in some cases as well. So again, that reiterates the point of express entry and ensuring that you do have a profile. The third program that we're looking at today is the Atlantic Immigration Program. So the Atlantic Immigration Program, or AIP, was formerly a pilot program, has now transitioned into a permanent immigration program due to the general overall success of the program. The Atlantic Immigration Program is a federal immigration program, and it allows skilled workers and international students who studied in the province and who wish to work and settle permanently in the Atlantic region to do so. So, of course, the participating provinces are the Atlantic provinces, and these are Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland and Labrador. If you graduate from a post-secondary institution in Atlantic Canada and receive a job offer from a designated employer in the region, then you may be able to apply for this program. Just bear in mind that for international graduates to be eligible under the Atlantic Immigration Program, you will need to complete post-secondary studies in the Atlantic region for at least 2 years. The next program is the Rural and Northern Immigration Program. So this is a community-driven program, and I would also say by extension, an employer-driven program. It's intended to spread the economic benefits of immigration to smaller communities that may not be so populated, but they do have a demand for a labor force. And this will help to create a pathway for permanent residents to skilled workers who want to live and settle in these participating communities. So as the name suggests, these are typically communities in rural and northern parts of certain provinces. There are currently 11 participating communities who can recommend an applicant for permanent residency. And it's not just for international students only, but this is a program that's a general program for skilled workers as well. So with this particular program, each community will have its own eligibility requirements and their own set of RNIP job sites. So now you would want to bookmark these community websites, especially their job boards. And you do want to ensure that you're regularly reviewing these, as jobs get posted very regularly and they can be posted at any time. And so you want to check them consistently to ensure that you're not missing out on any jobs that you potentially could apply for and be selected for. And remember that these jobs would have already been pre-approved through the program. So by getting any of them, you know that you will be able to apply through the program with that particular job offer. Of course, as long as you meet all of the other eligibility requirements. For your benefit, I will include the link to the participating communities below this video in the description box. The next pathway for international students is an entrepreneur pathway. So international students can sometimes be entrepreneurs, and the government of Canada recognizes that, right? And so there are some entrepreneurial programs designed specifically for international graduates who have studied in Canada. These, of course, will require the establishment or acquisition of a business in a participating province. So you don't necessarily always have to go and create a business from scratch. You could jointly own a business, maybe with a Canadian or a permanent resident, or you could acquire a business from someone else, right? So this is a great program for those who have an entrepreneurial spirit, and maybe they were entrepreneurs before coming to Canada and they want to continue along that pathway. With these programs, there are usually a percentage ownership that the program would require from the entrepreneurial international graduates. So you'll have to bear that in mind. Generally, that's about 33% from the ones that I've seen. 33 to 34% is usually that benchmark that most of the provinces are looking for. So some of the participating provinces that will have a program of this nature include Saskatchewan. We have Newfoundland and Labrador, Manitoba, Alberta, Nova Scotia, right? So if you have studied in any of these provinces or you're located there, definitely check out these programs. So these are some of the options available for you as an international student. You do want to plan your pathway and ensure it's done right the first time, right? You do not want to be in Canada and be out of status, right? You also want to do this before you finish your program. So I recommend starting to check out programs before your course is complete so that you can plan your pathway properly and so that you can act quickly upon the completion of your program, making the best use of your postgraduate work permit. Of course, bear in mind that this is not an exhaustive list of options, but I trust that it gives you at least a starting point as you plan your permanent residency journey. And don't stay in Canada and let your status expire. If you need support, my team and I would be happy to support you. You can reach out to us at nccanadaimmigration.com. And don't forget to share this video with current or former international students looking for PR options, and subscribe to our channel for Canadian immigration tips and information. And we'll catch you in the next video.